Lesson learned, the UAE is not the USA. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today I bring you an update on the Sassy trucker, also known as Tiara Allen. She has been released from Dubai and is coming back home to the USA after being stuck there since May of this year for the screaming match, shouting match, or whatever with the rental car company over there. Now, this, as I said from the beginning, is a lesson. The UAE, United Arab Emirates, Dubai, Middle East, other countries, these places are not the USA. In the USA, you can have an argument, a disagreement, a shouting match, or whatever, and it not be a criminal penalty. Okay, y'all have a disagreement, you go home, they go home, no harm, no foul. But in other parts of the world, it's not quite that simple. All right, it's not quite that simple. And before I go any further into it, let's go ahead and get into this news article. If you want to read this in full, I will link to it in the description box. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. You guys see the headline: Texas woman Tiara Allen, TikTok's Sassy trucker, leaves Dubai after arrest for shouting. Now, as I reported in the previous video, it wasn't just about shouting. They said that she defamed the person. Again, we're talking about a foreign country, Dubai. You can't just do whatever. Shouting, loud talking, that's not necessarily a jailable offense over there. But if you defame somebody and all of that, then it's different. All right. She had been stuck there since May because they issued a travel ban against her. And I think they had her passport. It was all kind of stuff going on. All right. I don't think she was actually in jail over there, but she was just not allowed to leave. And this was all over some money that she owed. We'll get into that in just one moment. But you see what's going on here? Let me zoom in a little bit so we can get a better view. A Houston woman was permitted to leave the United Arab Emirates and was reportedly on a flight headed back to the U.S. on Tuesday after months stuck in Dubai after being arrested for shouting in public during an argument with the rental car company. Now, like I said, it wasn't really about shouting. They said it was defamation. It's a little bit different. I mean, maybe that's a distinction without a difference, but it's not quite what they're saying. Anyway, social media influencer Tiara Allen, who posts online under the handle Sassy Trucker, boarded a flight to the U.S. from the UAE after paying a fee of almost $1,300 to have a travel ban lifted by authorities, according to the Detained in Dubai International nonprofit organization that worked to secure her return. Now, the whole argument, that's her right there, Sassy Trucker, the whole argument was over some money that the rental car company said that she owed, because what happened was, I believe she was a passenger in the vehicle that her friend had rented. They get into a wreck. Now, Tiara goes back to the rental car company after the wreck to get her personal items back. She might have had her phone and wallet, etc., things like that in there. And they were like, nah, you got to pay some money. Now, this is where things get murky, because some are trying to say, well, this is extortion, ABL. Some say, well, nah, it was an accident. She had to pay the damages, although she wasn't the driver. Maybe the friend had to pay the damages. Whatever the case may be, some money was owed. Now, my whole thing was, rather than her trying to scream and shout and do all this crazy stuff right there on the scene, which you're not going to win. You're in a foreign country. They got your vehicle. They have leverage. What are you going to do? Rather than doing all that, you should go to your consulate, a U.S. consulate in Dubai, and ask them for guidance. What do I do next? What are my next steps? Y'all, please give me some advice. That should have been what she did. And regardless of what, there was going to be some money paid out. Okay? She was going to have to pay regardless. And you see what she did right here. Now, my question would be, how much was the original ticket that she had to pay, which caused an argument? Was it more or less than the $1,300? If it was less than the $1,300, then you would have been better off just paying your money, getting your belongings, and you wouldn't have been there May, June, July, and part of August, 3 months. You would have came right back. You see what I'm saying? We got to think a little bit smarter here, but I digress. Anyway, Rhoda Sterling, CEO of Detained in Dubai, announced Allen's imminent return home in a statement shared on social media, adding that the case had highlighted the crucial role played by the media and by the public in demanding accountability and justice in the UAE. Tiara was living a nightmare and facing fines and lengthy imprisonment until her case was brought into the spotlight of international media scrutiny. Without that attention, all too often, Emirati authorities paid little heed to due process, fairness, and human rights. Well, that could be the case. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. That's her opinion. That's her statement. I'm not saying that she's wrong or right, but regardless of what, you have to understand where you're going before you go there in order to prevent these kind of things from happening. All right. And if things like this do happen, be ready for it. Be ready for it, because you over in their territory. What are you going to do? Are you going to rely on social media to get you out of jail or to get a travel ban lifted or to get your passport back? I don't think I would have that much faith in social media platforms to secure my freedom. I should do that for myself beforehand, but I digress. Allen was arrested in May following a confrontation with a male employee of a car rental company in Dubai. She was told at the police station, Bur Dubai, that she has been accused of shouting, which under the UAE's laws is illegal under offensive behavior, which is an unclear and subjective regulation, but warrants up to 2 years in prison, a fine and deportation. Again, I read an article from over there in Dubai that said it wasn't necessarily shouting, it was defamation of the actual employee, making him look bad or appear to be a thing that he wasn't in front of people. That's what I read. And if that's wrong, y'all let me know in the comments. But that the shouting thing is a media kind of clickbait type thing. I'm not quite sure that's correct, though. Anyway, we keep on going. Sterling also told CBS News the employee had been trying to intimidate Allen into paying thousands of dollars she didn't owe. But how much was the actual money that was owed? And again, if you think you don't owe that money, you think it's a scam, talk to your local consulate and seek their advice. It's simple. Tiara is the latest American tourist to get caught up in what is a common rental car extortion scheme. Rental car agencies are notorious for opening criminal cases against visitors with a promise to drop the case if they are paid off. The prevalence of blackmail is damaging to UAE's tourism and investment sectors, and Dubai's government needs to crack down on this abusive process, said Sterling, an activist and lawyer specializing in Arab nations laws. Again, this whole thing about extortion and blackmail, like that happens. I'm not saying it did or did not happen here, but it most certainly does happen in other parts of the world for sure. Mexico, Jamaica, UAE, wherever you are, India, China, it can happen to you. And you have to understand, again, where you are, the rules of the nation. And if you feel like you're being extorted, you're taken advantage of, have some backup, go to your consulate, phone a friend. Don't just try to hold court right there on the street, because you're going to lose that every single time. Every single time. But anyway, we continue. After being arrested and released on bail, Allen was not allowed to retrieve her belongings from the rental vehicle, and later noticed that several fraudulent charges were attempted on her credit cards. They stole her credit cards too. That's crazy. Which were in the back of the vehicle she had returned. The man who worked at the vehicle rental agency initially accused Allen and left the country for Pakistan after filing this police report. Interesting. Allen has been told to not return to Dubai by UAE authorities, and Sterling said Allen told her she was never thinking twice about coming back. I was so stressed every day. Allen has not posted her TikTok account ever since her detention. Well, hey, shout out to her. Glad she's back. But this is a lesson to anybody that wants to travel and just do certain things around the world. It can happen to you. It could have been extortion, or it could have been that she owed the money to the rental car company. It could have been either one. It doesn't really matter. As I close, if you think there's a problem, if you feel like you're being taken advantage of, there's a scam going on or something, call for backup. Talk to the U.S. consulate out there in whatever country you're in. You trying to argue with them, and it's just not going to happen in their territory. You don't have any kind of leverage, no advantage. You're at a disadvantage. You're in their neck of the woods. What are you really going to do? Not much. I'm glad that she is back home. But let it be a lesson. When in Rome, do as the Romans. They say, hey, man, you got to pay up some money. Either you pay them money or try to call the authorities and get it sorted out that way. You trying to fight it right there on the ground is not going to work out well for you. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what's going on here? Do you think that this is a case of extortion? Is it a case of the rental car company simply wanting their money? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I think extortion is probably the most likely scenario here for sure. But again, talk to your consulate, call for backup. Do not try to hold court right there on the street. You're going to lose that every single time. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.